right.
Liking that long intro.
Are we ready-ish? I think so.
Ready as we're gonna
hello and welcome to the Moon Underwater. I'm Kelly Daniels.
And I am Steve Jones.
How you doing, Steve?
Good. I did the manliest thing ever yesterday.
Holy moly.
I know.
Ever. What is
probably.
it? It had to do with an engine.
No.
Oh, okay. What?
No, you would think.
I would think.
I feel like at this one I did by myself, and so it was even manlier than the engine thing where we pulled the turbo off of Miata.
Yeah.
I replaced a garage door opener by myself.
Whoa. That seems hard, dude.
It was...
It's like got to be like a 7 out of 10 on like
for me.
Kind of hard to do just home repair.
I sat there. Well, I had done a couple before at my old house. You remember my old house?
Yeah, I do.
We had these garage door openers that the opener itself had like these dip switches on it.
Yeah.
And we could not program anything else to the opener because it was like the house was built in the mid 80s and they'd never been changed out.
Okay.
And so I was kind of complaining about it. And my dad, who never did a lot of handiwork when I was around,
Right.
was like, it's not that hard. I was like, what? Like, this doesn't check out. You don't do that stuff. He's like, nah, but I've done them. He's like, which ones? Oh, all three at the house. You did those yourself? Yeah.
Dad was a secret.
He was secret handyman.
Yeah.
And so that had two separate doors. And he's like, the first one's harder, but then the second one will be like half the time. It's really not bad. And I was like, oh, there's no way. And we did both of them in a day. And then I did the door by myself, no help, which is kind of hard because it goes up and like one whole thing goes up together. And I did that yesterday by myself in about, God.
Do we have like applause? Yeah, there we go.
Thank you. Should I take a bow? I did it in like 4 hours. It wasn't terrible.
Wow.
So would repeat. Yeah.
Nice one.
I thought it was pretty manly.
Nice one. Yeah. I think that the reason we have a podcast is so that we could brag about our accomplishments, because otherwise nobody will know.
Manly
It'll
shit.
be like your dad.
Yeah.
He's just kind of silently doing it, but we want some credit for the stuff we do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I need the credit.
Speaking of credit, I think I chose someone who I really kind of admire for today's subject, and I wanted to give him credit. I can kind of get into why, but the guy's name is Brad Neely, and he's just kind of a YouTube. Yeah. I mean, should we ding people whose name is going to be on the title? Maybe that's okay.
Yeah, no, he's going to get a ding.
We ding everything.
He'll get a ding.
Okay.
If we say Brad Neely again, see, there's
there it is.
Well, I was going to say there's no more dings.
Okay, we each did one.
Yeah,
that's the limit.
Okay.
So, I just I thought it was. I watched some of these videos. They're animated with music, and they tell little stories.
Animated?
Kind of. They're stills that tell a story through a series of stills.
Yeah.
It's like saying South Park is animated. It's in that level.
It's in that vein, yeah.
In that vein, and like the South Park guys, he's quite a self-made man, and I really like the story behind it, which is, I don't know, before I get into the story, should I just ask, you had probably never heard of this stuff? And
I never
what do you
heard
think?
of him, and I wanted to ask you exactly this. Tell me the background. What does he do? Like, what's his day job? Right?
Yeah.
What, how did he get started? Because I looked up a few things, and I was like, no. So for those of you that might be new here at the pubcast, we try to make this as natural conversation as possible without, taking our phones out, because my phone's up there recording. And as a result, today I was like, I'm going to look it up. I was like, wait, no. If we were sitting down talking at a bar, like I'm not going, hold on a minute.
Yeah, who is
Professor
this guy?
Daniels, I'm going to go ahead and look this up.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
So I didn't do any special research beyond just rewatching several of the episodes or little clips. But I did read a brief, I'm no biographer of the guy, but I read an interview with him once.
Okay.
And so this is where my side of the story comes from. And here comes a slow train.
The slowest train ever.
It's
taking the slow train.
The drivers just want to see us. They always are driving. See, stop.
And then they stop.
Stop just so they could check out the pubcast.
I did.
So he was just a college student, and this I'm going by memory. Going by memory. Okay. This is his start. These are old, by the way. And he was just kind of like an artsy guy, and he was into 3 things, and he was good at all of them, but he was into music. He could write music and sing, and I think the kind of guy who plays in band, but it's hard to make a living and be into music, and I don't, did he have rock star chops? I don't know about that, and he didn't know. But he was also good at storytelling. He was into that, but again, a tough field to get into.
Yeah.
Like, just what are you going to do? Write a novel? You and hundreds of thousands of other people just going to show up in Hollywood and say, hey, I'm your next screenplay writer? Like I said, a tough gig. And he was also into art. And so 3 of these things that are the hardest to make a living on.
Yeah.
And so he just started making these things that have music in them, that have stories, and that have art.
And not all of them have music.
Not all of them do.
Yeah.
You're right. Some of them do.
Can I say that I think the better ones do?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And he just started throwing them on YouTube, and
which at the time I don't know that YouTube was really being monetized. There wasn't ads back then.
This was before the
like,
era.
Here, I can become famous somehow.
It was before the era of the professional influencer for sure. And I think so when I think of YouTube and the whole entrepreneurial aspect of the internet, it really kind of got rid of the guardians, the gatekeepers, and everybody just put their stuff on. And that sounds good, but I think in like a pure democracy, mediocrity wins. And
Totally.
I think that the stuff where people are becoming multimillionaires for doing just stupid shit, and it's just disappointing. But to see somebody who does something unusual, like I've never seen anything like this really, and it's funny, smart, just well done, but in a really crude way. It's like he didn't have like the kind of ability to make a Disney level animation with a whole team behind him and all the graphics and all that. And he became quite successful on these YouTube things. And you asked where he is now. Last I heard, he just got swooped up by the Cartoon Network, and now and so he got
he got the gig.
He got a big boy gig, and I think he has his own cartoon that he does on like Adult Swim or whatever.
Yeah. I didn't know Cartoon Network. I didn't know networks in general were still a thing.
Vaguely. It's a streaming channel now, I think, and it's probably part of some other streaming channel. And I know you can find a bunch of that stuff like on Max. And
I mean, I have that. I have YouTube TV. I have like
you can find his thing. I think it's called China, Illinois, which is interesting. I don't know if he's from Illinois. That'd be cool if he were.
Right in our backyard, right
there.
You people that are watching on the YouTubes are looking into Illinois right now. Scary, isn't it? It's like you can see to a whole other state from here.
I like the glancing out the window. I like that the table on the deck right there, somebody's losing lottery tickets.
Scratch cards over there.
Just like left them in disgust. Yeah. Like, I'm not even going to throw them away.
I won't even bother. They'll blow away and get in the river.
Yeah.
So have you heard of Eric Gonzalez?
No, not the name.
My kids were kind of into him, and he's a YouTube guy that is more in, and he's young. He's done some music. He's done some, kind of fun stuff, and he's funny, and it sounds kind of similar to this. Now he doesn't do any of the the similar like animation, or it's him, and that might be something that's worth reviewing. There's a couple that I've seen that I'm like, all right, that's pretty funny.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, even though he might be on the Tickety Talks too, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we're often doing films, books, stories, poems that are kind of on the at least semi-serious side.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be fun just to kind of do just an internet phenomenon that isn't real. I think we can maybe dig into some of these videos a little here and there.
Yeah.
But mainly it's just really funny and clever and just something.
Very. And the jokes were funny that are in it.
The jokes are funny. I think as a writer, I really appreciate his dialogue.
That's the best part.
The turns of phrase and his characters, and particularly the Professor brothers.
Which I loved.
Yeah, the Professor Brothers, I obviously having spent so much time in grad school and being a professor and all that, it is a couple of professors of unknown rank and stature and all that. They share an office, which isn't the normal way that professors do it. But they're these two guys, and
they have funny voices.
And
he's got to voice them, right? I mean, or him and somebody.
I think he does it all. I think all this stuff, it's one guy.
Like him and Mike Judge.
Yeah.
Right? They do the Mike Judge does. That's Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They always did all the voices.
So I think he's up there with those guys. Not as famous, but I think he's
clever.
Yeah.
And there was stuff. So I wanted to ask before we get too far away. One of the things that we don't ever talk about is, but we don't talk about is in the same way that we talk about these other things, is music.
That's true. We haven't really done that.
I think we could like pick an album, and there's some good stuff to go back to, things that were funny, things that
we talked about. Rage Against the Machine and Bruce Springsteen last time with Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah forced us into the music, and maybe we'll...
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, me too.
If you don't like that idea, please email us at the guys at the moonunderwaterpubcast.com.
Don't do it. Yeah. Don't do it.
We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Read or mail.
Yeah.
All right, so should we jump in? Talk about what we watched? I want to start out with the order that you sent it.
Yeah, that's kind of me too. So we started with the TA interview.
Which is great.
Which was funny to me because it does hit our post-apocalyptic, kind of like topic at one point. But also my first podcast I hired using just a little bit of like department funds.
Apocalyptic visions. I have in my notes.
Yeah. But we had a guy that we hired to do the sound engineering of my first podcast, a student.
Yeah.
Guess what his name was?
Gabe. Which was the joke at the beginning.
Oh, wait, we should ting Gabe. Gabe was really good, but sometimes it was kind of late, undergraduate kind of thing. We'd be waiting for
later
him to
than
like.
Me?
What's that?
Later than me on YouTube?
Oh, no. Yeah, no.
No, not even. No way.
You dumped them all pretty fast as soon as you got going,
yeah.
But it was just kind of
we wanted.
Yes, later than you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's easier.
So anyway, we would listen to this and think of good old Gabe.
That was like the opening joke where in this the Professor Brothers, the TA interview, and they start out with, "That was a sweet pitch, Gabe."
And he has a nasally voice too that's hard to.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
yeah. I go from here to deeper.
I could probably. Yeah. I think I could hit it if I practice, but maybe if
it would be really loud.
A beer or so from now, I can get it.
You might start singing.
Yeah,
I do have lyrics that I printed out here because they were so good.
I wanted to know the lyrics. I was listening to him over and over. The Kenny Winker.
Kenny Winker.
It's
great.
It's not real, but we're gonna ding him anyway.
He Gabes him, and I was like, okay, that's still probably, in 2007 or whatever when it was, or 2008, it was not acceptable to say to say that to someone, and it was still funny.
It was hilariously funny, but also.
I mean, we're already canceled, so we can say that it's funny.
Just their interview style, just dumping a bunch of crap on this kid who just looks terrified the whole time.
And the drawings are awful. So before anybody's like, oh, like, how could you tell? No, I mean, it's drawings that are something, I might be able to produce something of that quality.
Yeah. They have a style, though.
It's great.
And they're evocative.
One of the things I really liked is the book titles on the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote some down.
There's a lot of cool stuff on the background. What are some
in
of the
this
good
one,
ones?
the book titles were Gay Fucking Umps. That was, I saw that, I'm like, all right, well, they're continuing with the gay stuff.
Yeah.
Umpire Nation.
Yeah.
Umps in History. And so I was wondering if this was a good time to bring up Angel Hernandez.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't die.
He didn't die. But Major League Baseball paid off one of arguably the worst umpires in the history of the game to make him retire.
Yeah.
Because he sued Major League Baseball. So he won in a lawsuit, and then he won in getting paid to go away from Major League Baseball.
He was a real problem.
They couldn't have just rolled that all up into one? Like, just got rid of him? Like, right there?
Well, they did eventually.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a few references that I caught and that and besides to Angel Hernandez being an awful umpire.
You heard it here first,
You
folks.
did. Yeah, it's never, ever been said before.
No, we're
you actually had to tell me about that because I didn't know. I'm not.
Oh, that everybody's talking about him? Yeah.
And that I saw that you had told me that there was a meme where
Missed call.
Yeah. Angel Hernandez on a phone.
Yeah. Missed call, Angel Hernandez. Yeah.
And so look it up. This is one of those things that you people at home can do while we're talking. You could go, wait, who's Angel Hernandez?
Yeah.
And it's the entire reason that one of the reasons that many players want electronic strike zones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm ready for the robot overlords.
I told you what Ben
as long
Zobrist,
as they're better than the Chat GPTs and
yeah, they're not great.
they're still.
It's a word predictor.
I learned something about Chat GPT. The words, I guess. In French, it translates directly as the cat farted.
Yeah, I just knew cat.
The cat farted, and so they're listening. So being French, listening to the news, they will, with a straight face, will the cat farted take our jobs? And and everybody just has to kind of ignore it.
The French are really good sports about a lot of that stuff. They I think they have a bad reputation, but
the French?
Yeah.
I like the French.
Me too.
No
we were there
problem.
last year, and
no problem
people were phenomenal. It was awesome. Yeah.
French have always been nice to me.
Yeah, me too.
So, anyway, we're on TA interview. I like that he's like, you're at a crossroads or something. He goes, I'm always coming to fucking crossroads, but when I do, I always bring my Knox. Do you have your Knox, Gabe?
Your binoculars.
And that was just funny. And he goes, I know you have this written down. I was once like you. I want to say this to people so often. I was once like you, Gabe, but then I grew a brain, a dick, and a heart.
Yes. Oh, God. Let's see. Let's see. Is this? Oh, no. This is a different one. So there's a reference to Of Mice and Men. Lenny.
Really?
So.
Yeah, Lenny.
Lenny.
Yeah.
I never read Of Mice and Men.
No, me either, but I know that.
Have you read Catcher in the Rye?
Yeah, I have.
I just feel like all those high school things that they made you read.
Yeah, I liked Catcher in the Rye. It was fun. You could read it in an afternoon. And
that sounds like a perfect book for me. Could I listen to it in an afternoon?
Probably. It's pretty short.
Better yet.
I liked it. I don't know. I wouldn't read it again. I think I might be disappointed now as a grown-up. But so yeah, they have the Lenny story, and he's smashing
the rabbit heads.
He's smashing the heads of the rabbits' heads, and he's using it to like just pressure Gabe into what do you do? And Gabe but they don't let him have any chance to answer any of their questions. They keep jumping on each other. And then he said, "What are you going to do?" And then the other professor brother, the blonde one's going, "Oh, I'm so full I can't even eat any chicken or fish tits. I ate so many.
Not even one fish tit.
Not even one fish tit because I ate so many Stallone cuts."
And what was a Stallone cut?
It was a pile of meat.
Like meat that was wrapped up, rolled really tight.
Wait, no. First, there's veins of tangy mayo, and then wrapped up
rolled it up
with a thin skin of pinkish cheese, and they just look like these throbbing testicles.
Yeah,
and they're
amazing.
It's like they start calling him Little Dog. That's what the profs eat, Little Dog. Bet you haven't even heard of them. And they're just harassing this kid.
They are. Did you have to do an interview as a TA? You were a TA, right?
Maybe I
just kind of got the gig.
I got the gig generally just when I got my award from grad school. But I also, once I did have to get a gig my first year in grad school, I didn't have funding. And I was like, if I don't get funding, I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
So I just started hitting the campus, and I went to a couple of writing labs, and one was like ESL lab, and one was just the reading and writing center kind of thing. You know what those are, right?
Yeah.
Did you? You probably went there all the time.
Sure.
To get the remedial help for a grad student can help you write your paper.
I went at when I was at Augustana. So for those of you playing at home, I have 2 bachelor's degrees. One from the University of Iowa and one from Augustana College. I'm going to just one ding for the 2 of them. And Iowa, I graduated with 2.95 somehow, which was, I mean, that was like a miracle.
That was good, yeah.
Yeah, and then Augustana 5 years later, and I think I graduated, 7 years later, 5 years, 6 years, I don't remember, with like a 3.6. And yes, I went to a place where somebody would go, this sentence doesn't make any sense. These verb tenses disagree, like from one sentence to another. You're not writing it in the same. And they would make all these changes. They're like, okay, so we'll see you back. I'm like, yeah, sure. And I'd go make some of the changes, and then I'd call it good.
Yeah, I think generally doing that kind of work is you help students go from a B- to a B, and then they're happy with it.
I was like
whatever.
B+ A- work most of the time, yeah. Yeah, I did.
Even though your your sentences made no sense and verb tenses didn't agree. That's what an A- is now today, folks.
At least then. Yeah, 2007
now it's an
to
A+.
2009.
It's like, wait. You
wow, you did the work? Congratulations, you get an A.
Yeah, these are...
I actually got an award at Augustana.
Holy
Speaking of
cow.
things that we can feel good about.
Yeah.
I got some Rotary Club award for highest GPA at the school because they had transferred all my credits in, but the dirty little secret is that Augustana doesn't transfer your grade point average in, and I didn't work my first year back getting my second bachelor's, and I had a 4.0 with 2 A+, and they didn't give extra. They didn't go to 4.2, and so they called the registrar's office, and the registrar was like, "Oh, would you want this?" I was like, "Sure, I'll take it." And I had it, and it was a nice glass vase.
Do you still
and
have
my
it?
jealous wife broke it, just like the leg from Christmas Story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She kept looking at it day after day.
Yeah.
She had a 4.1, and your 4.2, she just couldn't take
just
it.
Was eyeballing that thing.
Yeah.
One day dusting, just like in Christmas Story, and it
dusting.
Oh, yeah, and it just
Air
fell
quotes,
off,
man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go.
So, bagging on wives.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to do that on this podcast?
Mine never said not to. Yours definitely did.
Mine did.
Yeah.
Certainly, the bar talk, like complaining about spouses, is
Boy, I know somebody who can complain about theirs right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't talk about that yet.
No, we won't.
But
we won't.
Eventually.
We'll get to talk about it?
I think so.
That'll be fun.
I can't wait.
I like gossip.
Me too.
Yeah. Bad things happening.
Can I tag people in the episode on Facebook when it drops?
Of course.
Yeah.
You mean the wife?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Are we going to get sued?
I already asked her to donate to my marathon cause.
Ah. Did she do it?
She did not.
Seems like she would want to...
spend some money right now?
Spend some money or kind of, consolidate friends or present herself in the friendliest light.
Would she donate as cheating whore is what I wonder. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
You did.
Couldn't help myself.
Cheating whore. Kenny Winker uses the word whores in his song.
Well, which song? Are we not there yet?
No, we're not there. Let's just go through. So
I think I'm on Fluff Night Part 1 now for me.
Fliff Night.
Oh, God.
Oh, so they go into an apocalyptic thing, and I will say, on TA interview, the way that all of their weirdly, seemingly random things come back at the end was very clever in terms of storytelling. Because they were like telling Gabe all the things they don't like. He goes, I have a fear of fur coats.
Fur coats.
And martial arts. And the other one's
martial arts.
What I don't like, and he writes it on the whiteboard, is martial arts, all kinds, and breath, all kinds. And then all of a sudden he's like, when we bring our knocks, and then it's like after the bombs drop and it's us against us, maybe we should embrace martial arts and we'll be
warm fur coats.
And he's like, and when we're freezing at night, we'll wish that we had those fur coats.
Yeah.
And those like rabbit heads, and we'll try to catch rabbits to survive when we were trying to protect them from
Lenny.
It all comes around, and then Gabe just like runs away.
It's sort of,
and they're just like, oh well,
like a Seinfeld or a Dickens thing where it's like all of a sudden it all ties back right at the end.
It's
like,
gorgeous.
Right in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Fliff Night
Part
is
1.
about,
it's a two-parter. These are 2 minute and 30 second roughly.
Let's just put them part 1 and part 2 into one thing because it's just one story. I think
it was hilarious.
It was really funny. It's a guy. So the one that talks more, there's the dark-haired and then the blonde professor brother. The dark-haired one has a whiny voice, and he wakes up from a hangover, and his buddy is messing with her. He's like, and they use like young people slang, but they're these like balding
they're
kind
balding
of like guys.
Yeah.
And it somehow is just very charming and funny. They're like, but they use it right. Like they don't seem like they're trying to use youth language. They seem like they're kind of like successfully doing it.
They're successfully doing it, but then again, I have no idea.
No, I don't either, but they're confident in the way that they're just casually using, don't lean on me or something like that. And he goes, fuck that.
Have you heard how our kids talk? Clothes.
I don't listen to my kids.
Drip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know drip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's drippy.
No.
You're looking drippy.
No cap. No lie. Not lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. There's other ones.
I've seen no cap all over the place, but I never Googled it because I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. Okay. I'm just going to accept my place as old. I don't know what no cap means. I remember a tweet where Nicki Minaj did this like full tweet that was all that Gen Z language.
Yeah.
And it was like incomprehensible to me and people like me, and that was the whole point. And the number one response to her tweet was, "You're like 40 years old."
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Did she do it right? Is the question.
I think she probably did, but she could have 15 Gen Z like consultants write it for her. And
probably she did.
Yeah. So Fliff Night.
Let's talk about the books.
Yeah. Tell me about the book. This is in their office.
Burned to Jackson, Inside God, Baby Guns, Barbs, Scurvy, Oats, Pumpers, War.
There is
Mud
oat
Wheat.
humping later.
There is.
In the Sodom and Gomorrah episode.
Yep, there is. Mud Wheat, Mud Beef, Mud Buns, and Mud Cake are all separate
I'm glad
books.
you recorded all those. That's great.
I think it's funny.
It is.
Okay. And so as he's talking about, he says, I started thinking of all the sex that happens at every second around the world, where all those people out there wearing out their knees,
just going, yeah. And through the whole thing, they're talking to each other and they're facing each other, but they both have laptops open, and there's
definitely porn
on both of them, but all that
like
shark porn and like weird stuff.
A little like maybe there's some David Foster Wallace in there with the shark fascination.
That's true.
The sharks come up a couple of times.
They do.
Yeah. As do owls.
Owls, yeah.
They do that. So then what do they do?
So he's dating like one of his students, Momo, and he goes, Momo is away visiting her parents in Missouri, and they cut to a shot they cut a shot to her, and she's in like one of those frog racing things with these.
There's a frog race. They're encouraging the frogs.
Yeah. And then he goes, so I decided. So he drinks he's drinking Ghetto Blasters by himself.
Which I don't
and then he
know
goes
what that
down
is.
to the Oppenheimer pinata party, and there's all these Oppenheimer's pinatas hanging from the ceiling. This is before the movie, by the way.
Well before. This is like 2008, 2010.
And then
maybe.
he's like starts drinking, and he's like, Fliff is money. So he's just like, Fliff, not even counting.
He's whipping out Fliff like a sultan.
And everybody was liking him, and the string theory.
Wait, the string theory dudes were there.
But
and they
were the girls,
they had money
though?
jackets on. They had like the $sign jackets on.
Yeah.
The girls were
Quantum theory.
The quantum. And they were the hotties.
The hotties. They were they were like, I was making them laugh, and they're like, it's like the string theory one, and these like even even the guy with Cheeto teeth, he's like, no.
No,
but,
the guy with Cheeto teeth wasn't there.
Oh, I want to jump back to the TA interview when he's given the talk and he's eating those fish tits.
Yeah.
And he's like making this big statement, but he coughs halfway through and he can't finish it. He's like, hey, man, it's just really good.
It's it's a super profound statement, but he can't finish making it without coughing and sounding like an idiot.
And the art on it is just a still picture of him, and there's some crumbs coming out of his mouth as he's coughing.
Right.
It's just really evocative. Okay, so we're back at the party.
Well, we're at the end of the party, I feel like.
He goes, I was handsome and funny.
He was owning all
and he
of
goes,
it.
Seemingly rich. And then it shows a shot of him looking at his wallet, and there's like a couple of bucks left. Like,
right. And then
the hippie,
the enemies at the end of the movies.
A fat hippie shows up.
Well, and before that, there's like my enemies, just like those at the end of a movie, are slowly starting to crack a smile.
Yeah, and then they start clapping their asses off
they're clapping
because they can't help but appreciate
how amazing he was. And then a fat hippie starts playing a James Taylor cover,
a blistering cover of James Taylor, and then he goes,
not
and
happy.
then here's how he put it, if I can find it, and then down in my brain's heart, I knew that it was, things were going to go bad. And then it does. And all these hippies show up. And
hippies started pouring in part
Death
two.
And Death's buddies. And then I was everybody to nobody. Nobody to everybody. And then he, blacks out. Woke up in a bar.
In a strip club.
Yeah, with striptease falcons. It's all kind of poetic, actually, the way he puts it all. Striptease falcons, blacked out, woke up
in a car.
That was Tokyo drifting everywhere.
That's the line for me. That's the one that killed me. Tokyo drifting everywhere.
And he was with a woman that was
sideways car.
Yeah, a woman's driving. She was a punisher of eyes.
And then he said that he made her drink. She made him drink a potion.
Yeah.
What did the potion do?
Oblivion seeking gulp. What did it do?
It was a potion that made me want to fuck stuff I never wanted to fuck before.
Namely her. Yeah. Well, it said she was either a something or a very patient demon, because I saw her. I saw something coming out of her human suit, like the. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
And so woke up, blacked out, woke up in grapple school.
Yep.
And
again with the martial
arts. Blacked out again. Yeah. And then he wakes up in her bed, and he's got these great 8-ball underwear, brief 8 underwear.
He does.
And then he blacked out again, and then woke up hitting send on a breakup email to Momo.
Fantastic. And it was, was it a breakup email?
Yeah,
I thought it was.
He said it was a breakup email,
and the blonde professor was like, "Well, so in that email, did you call her Momo Salad and Momo Burger?"
He goes, "I wish you would. I wish there was some things in there you hadn't said, like saying that she was less of a student, but more like nourishment, like." A Momo salad or a Momo burger.
How did you know that?
He goes, how did you know those things?
Because she sent it to everyone on campus.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was a good one.
Okay, so we get away from the Professor Brothers for a little bit.
Well, no, Prisoner Christmas, I think, is the next one.
Was that Professor Brothers still?
Yeah, they're singing it.
Wow,
it's just a music video. But it's the Professor Brothers singing it.
Singing Prisoner Christmas.
Yeah. And it's talk about un-PC. I know we're supposed to, we're not even supposed to say prisoner anymore.
Wait, really?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Incarcerated people. Because it's not their identity. It's they've been incarcerated. So, but they call them Prisoner Christmas, and they are just cruelly mocking.
Wait. Hold on.
You need to go back. Incarcerated people, man.
I'm not going to do that.
Hey, no,
I'm out.
It's a free country,
Yeah.
but you're going to get canceled.
Mostly. Well, we have to be popular enough to get canceled.
You
They
got a
can
point
come back
there.
and listen to this one.
Yeah.
And then cancel us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
All right.
So we dare you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We double
and
dog dare ya.
another thing. Yeah.
So yeah, but it's a really mean because it's essentially a song about being a prisoner on Christmas.
An incarcerated person on Christmas.
And it's like a cool little, it's got a piano groove, and the Professor Brothers are like dancing and singing.
Johnny
And,
wishes he was a little bit bigger,
yeah.
and Frankie wishes he was back on the force.
And
Da-da-da-da.
Little William wants to get a divorce.
And it shows
he's
a
like,
dude with getting lipstick put on him.
yeah, his bigger roommate is making him put lipstick on, and and they're all crying, and
Right.
it's fucking brutal.
They're wishing, oh, please release me this Christmas.
Oh, wait, there's a background. Oh, please, can't leave. It's prisoner Christmas. Ba-da-ba-ba.
And it's well mixed. It's well done.
And then the kind of bridge, it might be called, is like boo, ba-ba, hoo, 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 boo. And the one guy starts like dancing and doing the crying sounds and humping the floor.
Yeah.
Like,
It was so good. Dee Dee wishes he had asked to see her ID.
Yeah.
And Freddie wishes he could kill them again.
yeah, he's just like grinning and like just going over it.
And Jeremy is just a dreaming for a redo machine, and Dunstan wishes he had never checked in.
Yeah.
Which is a reference to a horrible movie from the 80s, 90s.
I did not know
Dunstan checks in.
that. Nice.
There was an ape or a monkey. Those of you out there, you could look it up. What he was. Chimpanzee? Orangutan? Orangutan. I'm going to go with orangutan.
Apes. Those are all apes.
Okay. It's an ape.
Okay.
And I want to say Jason Alexander was in that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know that. I'm
Some
glad
hotel
that you,
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So then.
So any other good ones? I know there was like somebody wishes he was still on the force.
Yeah, it was that way. Yeah.
Okay, you read that one? Okay.
Did I?
Jeremy.
Wishes he was. Oh, Harry Hal wishes for ladies and gals, and Frankie. Yeah, Frankie wishes he was on the force.
Back on the force.
Harry Hal wishes for ladies and gals, and little William wants to get a divorce.
Yeah. That's pretty. And then there's the one where it's like somebody. I didn't catch all the lyrics, but it goes, but he's here and he's queer. Get used to it.
Oh, hold on.
You have it?
I have. Yeah, I printed the lyrics out.
Nice. Did you find them?
Yeah.
Or? Oh, okay.
I cheated.
That was smart.
Let's see.
The here and queer. Get used to it.
Oh, here it is. So there's two that I'll read here.
All right.
Alpha male turning pale with the fear that this year it's his rear.
Yeah. Well, there's like a big guy, bigger than everybody, and then a much bigger prisoner walks into the room and looks at him.
And with the fear that this year it's his rear that will be somebody's baby. Little Mike wasn't like what you'd find, but he's here and he's queer, so get used to it.
Yeah. Little Mike was in it, and it's a groovy song, kind of. It's pretty.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. All right, so should we move on to office hours? Or are we?
Do you want to jump forward to Kenny Winker because it's the other song one, or do you want to just go in order?
Order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Office hours. Oh, that's also a music one.
It is.
It's a more weird one than the others.
They're the books that are on the shelf. I noticed.
All right, let's hear 'em.
Owl sex.
Yeah, there's
That's
definitely some owl things going on.
Teeth cat. Let's see. I don't like any of the things that you like. Have you heard the new Winker album? This is like how they start. They're talking to each other.
Oh, he goes, I hate that shit.
I hate all that shit. I hate everything that you like. And he's like, have you heard the new Winker album?
So it's office hours, and the two professors are there just looking at their computers and just doing nothing.
Yeah.
And when they talk in that way where the person's looking at their phone or their computer where they
were looking at porn.
Yeah, and they take forever to like respond to each other. And our train, I guess, got enough.
Right. They were, yeah. I want to wave at this guy.
So anyway, and
He's smoking a cigarette in there. That's fantastic. Oh, wait. No, he's not. I'm sure that would be illegal. It's definitely not happening.
no, we don't want to get the train guys in trouble, I guess.
Nope. Well,
So,
you can't see him anyway.
so, are you into Kenny Winker album? He goes, yeah, well, tell me what I've heard it. And he goes, have you heard, did you print those lyrics up too?
I did. No, I didn't.
I kind of went through and just caught some. So the one guy's just singing in a really inept way the lyrics of this Kenny Winker song.
Yeah, he goes through the whole song.
Don't trust me. I'm a fucked up dick-faced liar. Da, 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 da. Like, and it goes on forever.
He's like, yeah, that one song that goes like this. And here's the new album, and he's like singing it. And as he gets to the end, that's the blonde one that's singing it. And then the dark-haired guy at the end goes, Winker does rule, man.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
That's good.
Like, he finally agrees.
Yeah, kind of, but like student came and visited him and talked about a paper while the other guy was singing all these lyrics. And like all these things were going on.
Everything else was happening.
Well, this guy just kept going on lyric after lyric. And it's just all about, here's some lyrics that I tried to piece together. Don't tell me that my whistling's good. My whistling's bad. It's all this self-flagellation. Don't trust me. I'm a bad person. But here's a good one. Don't thrust your perfect phalange into my demon turd of a soul. Your hand would go into my satanic cheeseburger, a.k.a. my heart's vagina.
First of all, I love that you're singing it. And fortunately, there's nobody here to hear this.
The bar is completely empty.
The bar is totally empty.
Yeah, and even the train left. They were just like...
they were like, no, fuck this.
Yeah.
Was this... Let's see. No, this is a different one.
Our order is good because then we go into Kenny Winker's video.
Now We Can Make Love.
Yeah, that one doesn't even have the Professor Brothers in it, but it's their world for sure.
It's definitely their world.
They did a U-turn, the train.
They did.
Yeah, that was pretty fast.
Yeah.
That was pretty fast.
Fastest you've ever seen a train turn around, I'll tell you that.
You got some art. Those of you just listening, you're
missing out.
Always missing out when you don't see all of these amazing visuals.
So, okay, should we move on to the Now We Can Make Love, which is
Kenny Winker's Now We... is that what the song is called? Now We Can Make Love.
I think so. That's what the YouTube title was.
Yeah, and it's just a music video, animated.
It is, and there's some really amazing parts of this. So there's a few lines that I really like.
So the story is pretty easy. It's we got a lot to do before we make love, and it's just all this list of things.
Yeah.
That they need to do to prepare to make love, and it's just absurd.
You ready for the actual list that was shown?
Let's do it, yeah.
Number 1 was exercise. Well, it was like number 211 was exercise.
Exercise.
Then shave.
Shave, yeah.
The next one might be my favorite. Call Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
And then what, with a question mark after it, was the next one.
Yeah.
And then feed goats.
Yeah.
And then make goats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just written, but some of the lyrics had...
The lyrics were, we have to kill the sharks.
Yeah.
And leave our marks.
Yeah.
And the marks that they were leaving were a reference to Luther, right? So they had 95 95 things, and he was like nailed to the door.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So it was I think
so there was a bunch of stuff going on with just that there was the lyrics itself, but then there was the video. And one of the video is that they feed a bunch of mice to a snake.
Yeah.
Then they feed the snake to an owl.
Then
Then they roast
eat the
owl over a fire and then eat the owl.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is they're pouring gasoline or poison into a hole full of gnomes, and all the gnomes are running away.
Yeah.
And the next lyric, and then they shoot Hercules in the ear, and he goes, "Hercules, baby, we gotta kill." and then we gotta summon the dead now, baby. You said you would. Now it's for real. And they summon Marilyn Monroe naked. Like her ghost.
Yeah.
And then they do this whole thing. making love. And there's these guys with Speedos are dancing, like thrusting their crotches
Totally.
at the couple's face.
Yeah.
And then there was the...
They were green. The Speedo.
Remember the Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they put the pole into the hole that goes there, and then the sun goes through at a certain time, and it lights up a certain spot. They do that, but it's between her legs, where the light goes, and her legs are spread, and it goes right.
I missed the reference.
It's great.
Damn it.
It's really funny. My favorite part of the song is when he does the check. Did we lock all the doors? Check. Did we win all the wars? Check. Did we brush our teeth? Wait, did we brush our teeth, bathe in the creek? Did we dress up like whores? Check, check, check.
He's got like the hairy legs coming out of the fishnet stockings. Yeah.
And it's a pretty great song.
I liked it.
Catchy as hell, man.
I'm not gonna lie, I liked all of these.
Yeah.
And I first started watching it like, okay, like what?
I was wondering if you might
here?
not like. Not everybody that I've turned on to this stuff is like.
You got to watch more than one.
Yeah.
And it's like, and do the guy a favor and do that, right? Like, like it's clever and
it grows. There's a world that
there is, and it's for a lot of stuff that relies on current events or politics or other things to make it funny. This relies on exactly none of that.
No, there's
and that's what makes it really good. I think
it's timeless.
Yeah,
timeless art.
Yeah. All right, so let's keep going because the next one was absolutely my favorite.
Well, this is the famous one.
This
is the one that went viral. Had you heard it before?
No,
because it was pretty big at the time, but it was about George Washington, of course.
Yeah,
talk about current events.
Yeah,
and it's a rap song. Kind of a slow rap.
6'8", weighs a fucking ton.
Yeah, it's all about how
George Washington is 6'8" and weighs a fucking ton.
Yep. Yeah, and each time he just gets bigger and badder and more mythic. And
6'20" later is what.
Yes,
six.
Yeah. Well, it's Washington, 6'20", fucking killing for fun.
Yeah, I do have the lyrics written.
Spread the Delaware. So he's spreads
the Delaware.
Delaware like Moses, I believe.
Yeah.
Spread the Red Sea or whatever it was.
Parted
the Red Sea. Opponents beware.
Well, so he's 2 sets of testicles so divine, 8 women's brains, and invented cocaine.
Yeah.
It's the line, like the lyrics in
the
this
lyrics
were
are
so
great.
good.
There's like the ladies loved his snuff and his gallant stroll.
Would he save children?
But not the British children.
He would, but he would not save the British children. That's right. He'll save the children, but not the British children.
Yeah, there's all these scenes of him like allowing the British children to die and drown and stuff.
Yeah.
Sue me if I go too fast, but the sons of his opponents wish that he was their dad.
Yeah.
It's so badass.
Amazing.
He's got a wig for his wig and a brain for his heart. He'll kick you apart. He'll kick you apart.
That's amazing.
Here's one. He got a pocket full of horses. Fucked the shit out of bears.
Yeah.
Threw a knife into
There's an
heaven.
interesting graphic with that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's another one. He makes love like an eagle falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
But he threw a knife into heaven. He could kill with a stare. Killed his sensei in a duel, and he never said why. And they show a close-up of him, like a tear going down.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, let's talk about this in literature terms.
All right.
So, I mean, is it literature? Can it be viewed that way? I have my own opinion.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
There's essentially 2 schools of thought, and one is I don't know, you might call them the prescriptivists, and the others are the descriptivists.
Okay.
And the prescriptivists say that literature has to reach a certain bar of, and who gets to judge that is an open question, but that there is good stuff and then there is just junk. And the other one is that anything out there is worth the same serious treatment. And those are the kind of pop culture critiques, and literature is everything that is written down, I suppose.
Yep.
And as far as I go, I'm kind of a prescriptivist. I don't think everything deserves to be treated seriously. But I also don't think that it's Shakespeare or nothing.
Does this want to be treated seriously?
I don't know that it wants to be, but the reason why I want it to be on this podcast is because I do treat it seriously.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I think it's fantastic.
I think it is just really great work. It's super smart. This particular song, he really is making a point about how we mythologize the past, how we turn people into heroes. And I'm sure George Washington was a great man and really an impressive person on so many levels. But
except for the whole cherry tree incident.
That didn't happen. But I like that he's like the final one that they the final verse, it's like something about 7 stories tall made of radiation.
Yeah.
On a horse made of crystal, he patrolled the land. I mean, it just gets more and more. And then the cartoon at the end, he appears with goat legs like Pan, and then later a centaur.
Did I mention his 4 knots? Well, he also had 4 dicks.
Yeah, it goes into that.
Yeah.
And then it just gets chatty at the end.
It does. Yeah. 12 stories high, made of radiation. The present beware. The future beware. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. Yeah. To me, I mean, I'm absolutely willing to call this literature.
Yeah, man.
And that it's one of those. It's creative. I mean, nobody's fucking. This is one of those. Before this, who did that? Right? And okay, the medium's a little different, but I loved it, and we're not done yet because there's still another one.
Wait, there was one other thing. It popped into my brain as
I thought the next one was the really famous one.
No.
Oh.
No. Yeah, maybe I misaligned those links to you, but Washington is his famous one.
Got it.
No, the last one, Sodom and Gomorrah, is probably not one of the more famous ones. And it's longer than most of the other ones.
Yep. Well,
I did want to say one more thing about Washington. At one point, so there's Washington, George Washington, and the other people. Mm-hmm. But then there's the storyteller or the singer is in the video, and he's the one, he's wearing like an old-timey clothes.
Yeah.
But he's the singer. He's telling the story. But at one point, he has Prince's guitar. You know Prince's famous guitar that maybe you don't know that?
I don't know.
It's the guitar he had in Purple Rain, and it's this really distinctive-looking guitar that was... Okay, so Prince became the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah.
And he was that symbol.
Yeah.
His guitar was that symbol.
Oh.
It was this purple guitar. But at one point, it was the part where it goes, sue me if I go too fast. But the singer guy had Prince's guitar. So anyway, just a cool little reference and an homage.
I feel like I missed Prince by 5 years maybe. Like when I came along, it was he did the Batman song.
Yeah. That was goofy. Yeah, it was cool, I guess. Yeah, Purple Rain was where to go. Purple Rain is what started, oh my gosh. I don't want to start a whole new episode here, but Purple Rain kicked off literally, and I mean that literally. Not figuratively. It triggered, if you will, the big parental music. The Parental Music Resource Center. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Tipper Gore.
Yeah.
Tipper Gore bought Purple Rain. Now, Purple Rain was a soundtrack for a rated R movie.
But
she bought the double album. She brought it home. She had a bunch of kids. And she just threw the record on with her kids like hanging around her, like, and the song "Darling Nikki" came on, which starts off something about how I met her in a hotel lobby masturbating with a magazine, which is hardly.
That's not bad. I like that you know this story.
I do know the story.
Well, it's about censorship, I guess, and you're a writer. That checks out.
Tipper Gore,
yeah,
who's the wife. Okay, a normal housewife. the normal housewife is going to get pissed off about that. And nowadays she'll start a Facebook group. But in those days, like, whatever. She's going to tell her friends and they'll complain about it. The fact that she was a senator's wife, she just all of a sudden had millions of dollars worth of money and influence. And so she started this campaign of censorship that failed spectacularly. And I think, here's my weird little like counterfactual going back in history thing. That was just enough to taint Al Gore's reputation as a up and coming cool. He was a cool, like youngish baby boomer back when the boomers were youngish, like senator. And then he was kind of associated with the scolding censorship.
Yeah.
And that always never... and then that made him into kind of like this uptight guy, and then he became the annoying, too smart for everybody. And he barely lost that election in 2000, of course, and under winning the popular vote and losing Florida under very sketchy situation or whatever, close. Yeah. And there was some, whenever it's just a few hundred ballots, then it's a coin flip. And
it really is.
And the anyway, that whole thing. All I was going to say, though, is so Purple Rain essentially ruined Al Gore's 2000 election, and that's what got us George W. Bush, which got us the war in Iraq. I would guess that Gore would have gone after Al-Qaeda and the Taliban in Afghanistan, but unlikely to spread it to Iraq.
Yeah,
because
which in hindsight, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and everything in the world would be different right now if Prince hadn't made that. We should build a time machine, go back, and I love Prince.
No, don't have him unmake the song.
But we have to get rid of him.
Or he got rid of himself just a little too late.
He did. We could go back and
leave it to me to make a joke about a dead person. Is that
you've never done that before?
Smoking
we could
kills.
just learn. We could learn. Just have some nerdier person influence his musical career. I don't know. You know what I mean? Send back. Who's like a really dorky, like wholesome musician that could have? I don't know. I can't think.
Hanson.
Yeah,
they were Mormon.
Some good Mormons to come and help him
make it more wholesome.
Record,
but that just means Mbop would come out a lot earlier.
Purple Rain would be like what? Like light blue rain?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
inoffensive rain.
Yeah. Just not even rain.
But then
sunny day.
Would Twisted Sister become what they became as a result, right? Like Dee Snider sort of had a thing with Tipper Gore and testified to Congress, and as it turned out, everybody thought he was going to be a dumbass, and then
he was very smart.
Wow, he wasn't. Yeah,
so Dee Snider and Frank Zappa came on and just ate those
they did
senators for lunch, and then it was like, okay, we're just not going to do that now.
Yeah.
That was a kind of a
good moment for him.
It was a great moment in American history in a lot of ways that we just sort of like
Frank Zappa too. That's a name I didn't.
We're not gonna take it. By the way, I think I went to a campaign rally with headlined by it was a Jesus Christ, I shouldn't say it. Okay,
say it.
Ralph Nader,
Oh,
and it was headlined by Jello Biafra, he's the lead singer of the Dead Kennedys.
Oh,
but he was middle aged by then, and Patti Smith showed up, who's like she's a countercultural icon of boomerdom. And their big rally song was Power to the People. And it was just an impossible song to sing along to. It had no groove at all. It was just painful, and it was, everybody was insisting that this was a song that we needed to use as your revolutionary song. But I'll tell you, We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister.
Great.
Everybody will sing along with it.
Yeah.
You can apply it to anything. It doesn't have any specifics.
No, it doesn't.
And in fact, the first time I realized that, it was these teachers who were striking in, I believe, the state of Kansas.
I was going to guess the city of Chicago.
No.
Because they're usually on strike.
Maybe they are there, but this one they had a better, maybe it was Oklahoma.
Okay.
I think it might have been Oklahoma. Their median wage was like $22,000 a year.
When it should have been, 50 probably. How long ago was it?
Not that long ago.
Yeah, okay.
This is maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
not
it
that
was
long
like
ago.
crazy. And they just all went on strike. And everybody learned their wages, and the world was with them on that one. They're like, oh, come on, man, this is ridiculous.
Yep.
And they did this huge strike where all these teachers gathered, and I think it was like hundreds of thousands of people came out, and they had this giant, all these high school marching bands playing We're Not Gonna Take It.
That's pretty
cool. And the
cool.
whole crowd was singing it. And I remember hearing that on NPR,
Fucking
and you heard it.
powerful.
And I, the hair was standing up on my fucking arms.
Yeah.
It was like, holy
We're
shit.
not gonna take it.
No,
we ain't gonna take it. You got me singing now.
So here's the thing. A good protest song needs to be just dumb as a brick and catchy.
Yeah.
And just catch all. Just make it groove. Don't
overthink it.
Don't overthink it,
Yeah.
and don't make it artsy, and don't it needs to be no. Just straight up.
All right.
Okay. So we're back on. So let's close this off with the professor.
Should we name the name of we haven't even named the channel yet. I feel like since we didn't name the guys on the Moon Underwater, the Dark Side of the Moon Underwater.
All right.
We should, give a ding to Creased Comics, which is what I saw in the logo for what he's got. So Creased Comics, here's to you.
All right.
Raise my glass to that.
Yeah. I wish Brad Neely the best, and that whole crew that he's working with, whatever. I just think it's a real talent.
Well,
just
so
put it out there, and hope he's making some money and putting his work out there.
Bible history number 1 is the last thing we're going to talk about with this.
Yeah. And Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah, and they start out, and he's in class.
He's just giving a lecture in a lecture hall.
He says Sodom.
It's a pretty big lecture hall, and there's 20 students there, maybe. And some of them are just walking out.
Yeah.
Visibly walking out as he lectures.
And he's like, hey, can everybody move down to the front? I don't want to strain my voice.
I don't want to strain my,
and the first line that he says, he's talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, and it says Sodom, and he goes, Sodom, named after sodomy, and Gomorrah, named after an even crazier move. It was amazing. So he's going through the story of how it gets destroyed, and what he's showing is God's got a list, and possibly annihilate 1, whole world, 2, creation, 3, Sodom, 4, Gomorrah, 5, Arkansas. Absolutely fantastic.
How'd you like the representation of God and especially Jesus? They're standing there conferring up in the clouds.
I guess I didn't notice.
Jesus is covered in wounds, and he's just
all lashed out.
Thousands and thousands of cuts all over his body, and he's basically naked except for a loincloth, and then it's just brutal. And God is
I was not offended.
I wasn't. I was like, it's Lord and Savior.
Right.
He suffered.
Seems accurate.
And so they tell the story essentially of Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot. And Lot is this creepy little, kind of gimpy looking guy.
Yeah.
And then the angels come disguised as hot dudes.
They do.
They're full on gay club, muscular, shirtless, short shorts.
And Lot eventually comes out and says, "No one can fuck my strange friends."
Yep. But you can have my daughters. They're wearing bathing suits.
And they're like, my 2 virgin daughters.
Yeah.
And the people are like, well, first of all, they're probably not virgins.
Yeah.
and definitely, we're not interested. Yeah.
Well, and also when he was talking about how terrible Sodom and Gomorrah were, he's like, they were into all this stuff, and there's this one, somebody's fucking a bag of oats.
Yeah. That was popular.
They fuck rocks with God's face painted
God's
on
face
them.
painted on.
And
it was just like a circle.
Yeah.
Looked like a blow-up doll, but it was a rock. And as they're getting ready to leave, and this is one of my favorite things, as they're getting ready to leave, they had to gather their valuables, which included posters of Abraham
that was
and important rocks.
It worked up to posters of Abraham, but it had like scraps of leather and pots.
Yeah.
Or pottery. It was
important. My favorite was important rocks.
Important rocks.
Yeah.
It just showed these like kind of thing you find in an archaeological dig.
Right.
Like just rocks.
And then they took off running.
Yeah, they go, okay, he's going to...
They ran like goats on fire.
Goats on fire. That was good. And then the whole thing, they say the angels are like, you can't look back. Like, I don't know. It's God's thing. He's into that.
Yeah.
Like,
and
when the guys came, they were like, he goes, strangely enough, they didn't hit on him or anything. They just like washed their feet and stuff like that. All that stuff that
God was into
all that
at
stuff
the time?
that God was into at the time. And then they showed a shot of Jesus and God looking in this like crystal ball kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're super stoked because they're feet washing.
Right. So
and he gave him unleavened bread.
So Lot's wife gets turned into a pillar of salt.
Yeah,
before looking back.
she loses her concentration for 1 second. There's an explosion behind her. She looks back, gets turned into a pillar of salt, and then it flashes to Jesus and God. They're high-fiving.
They are. and that they dare not turn back.
Yeah.
For fear that they would get turned into a pillar of salt or some other spice.
Some other spice. Yep.
It is. This one was really good.
Then it ended with, I'm not even going to touch how the new tribes got made. Do you know the story?
No.
I do. I read the whole thing because I was interested.
Really?
It's an interesting story. It's completely twisted. So, Lot, this is King James Bible, by the way, I'm talking about, not like some interpretation. So Lot and his daughters, wife is turned into a pillar of salt. They get to some town. They don't have any money. And then they're there for a while. And the town people don't like them. They don't have enough money to stay. Yeah. So they become essentially homeless, unhoused. And they go to a cave outside it. They go to that hurts. They go outside of town and they stay in a cave. And eventually people start bringing them stuff. But the daughters are like, we're like here with you, Dad, and there's no guys around. And I know this isn't a direct quote from the King James Bible, but it's pretty much it. And they're like, we're never going to find husbands, and this is bullshit.
Uh-oh.
They get him drunk.
Oh, no.
They ply him with wine, and one after the other, on successive days, sit on his dick, get pregnant, go off into history, biblical history, and propagate the tribe of all these different tribes of whatever biblical kind of like groups. That's what happened. I know. Which is weird.
Well, it's more than weird.
It's more than weird. What it is like, I don't know.
We're so judgy now.
We are pretty judgy, but it's not that I'm judging that. It's that.
Oh, I am.
How can the group that uses this as their one and only source of meaning and value in the world also just ignore this fucked up shit and also judge other people for example, being homosexual?
Well, they don't always judge them, do they?
What do you mean?
Pickle-touching priests exist.
Oh, yeah.
Protected, aren't they?
They kind of...
Did I say that out loud?
You're right.
I'm at the end of the beer. I'm allowed.
It's a judging and not judging.
It's fine until...
It happens to somebody else.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, well, we'll just move them then.
Are we like an atheist podcast now? Maybe we should join I want to make sure that
agnostic? Can I go that far?
I don't know. I almost feel like I should just say I'm atheists just to not be a wuss about it. I am a wuss about it. I don't know what's going on.
I have
it's
no
possible,
idea.
But
yeah.
yeah.
I like that this is where we got at the end. I did not expect this.
Well, the last one was about Sodom and Gomorrah.
That's true. And I had no idea the story.
And I have it definitely wasn't presenting the story. It was presenting the story pretty much like it is, except that it was the professor brother telling the story.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
I guess to round out my, there wasn't anything I really had a problem with in any of this. I know sometimes, I'll go, yeah, I like this, I didn't like that. I thought it built from like in the order that we went, and that it started out really funny, and it got a little more maybe pointed.
Yeah.
But without
He's making some points.
He is, but without being, annoyingly so. And it's just, it feels like it's in good fun.
He doesn't have an axe to grind.
No.
He just wants to find funny shit and
and talk about it.
Hypocrisy is always funny. I mean, that's what's great about South Park.
Especially if you can shine the light on it. South Park is, and it's still good.
Yeah. I want Brad Neely to be up there, and maybe South Park and Mike Judge, they're at the top of the pantheon. That's like Jesus and God.
Is that our generation then? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Jesus and God. Wow.
But Neely is more the archangel, just right there, or at least a saint or something.
Yeah.
And then we're like apostles.
Yeah.
We're apostles.
I was going to go with some other higher thing, but I don't know the ranking.
Yeah.
Deacons? Is that a thing?
Deacons. I think
apostles are bigger than that.
Apostles, I was thinking about like the 12 apostles.
It shows
of
what
Jesus.
I know.
We're just like, we're Paul and those guys.
I'm Steve.
Steve and Kelly, the new apostles of...
I thought maybe you thought I was Paul. That's my middle name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Paul. Let's start calling you Paul.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
Went by Paul for a short period of time at work.
You liked it?
Not really. I thought I was going to get sued for breach of a non-compete because I had some asshole former employer that thought I should not be able to work anywhere in the universe in the system that I work on currently. So they can go fuck themselves.
It was a non-compete?
Yeah.
So those things are, I think they're becoming illegal.
About as good as the paper they're written on.
Okay.
And
but also I hear that there is quite a lot of energy in just getting rid of that.
Need to.
There's
certain states where you can't. Yeah. They're not a thing, like in California.
I'm just going to crank the music,
Jesus.
man.
You're going to cut me off?
No. You know what? You don't have to go home, but you can stay here.
All right, fine, people. You heard it here first. Professor Daniels.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Now that nobody is listening whatsoever, make sure you...
We're listening.
Make sure you... There's a bug hanging out in front of your eyeball.
It's dead now.
That was badass.
I know. I'm a killer.
So, leave us a good review and
don't leave us a bad review
and all that. What's that?
Don't leave us a bad review.
No.
We don't want to know.
No. Best to just...
You can fuck right off.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything.
Say it to somebody else.
Yeah. Say it to
nobody.
Talk
shit about us.
Say it to nobody.
Well.
Keep it inside. Bottle it up. You know? Make you sick.
We're out.
All right.
Thanks, people.
Bye-bye. All right. We killed it.